Alright then, so gonna do my Premier League predictions for this season. Oh man. Like I'm still I'm making this kind of in the wake of Euro 2020. I'm still reeling, but trying to focus on more positives. So looking at the Premier League season, I've made predictions as to where every team's gonna finish. Nothing else. Just the predicted final league table. I'm gonna go up the league, so from 20th to first. And I don't expect to get any of these right. Well, I expect to get the title race right at least. But these are just random predictions. I've gone some weird ones just because it's the way football is. Not gonna finish how you always expect. So I've gone some whack decisions. You guys will, if anyone watches this, you'll probably be like, "Yeah, he's an idiot." I'll watch this maybe mid-season and think I'm an idiot, but that's what predictions are there for. So, without any further ado, I'm gonna get into it. And first off, starting in 20th, I'm gonna go with Brentford. Now, it's definitely unfortunate, and there's no special hatred there for Brentford at all. I just think the squad is so weak, and they play such an attacking style of play that, while in cup games they have done well against Premier League opposition, I think Leicester last season, I think it was when they played them, Leicester did chew them apart. So I think they'll be what Norwich were a couple of seasons back. Like, they'll play a decent brand of football, they'll pick up some wins, but I think defensively they're going to get ripped apart. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be bad or an embarrassment to the club. It's the first time in the Premier League, I think I'm right in saying that. But actually, I'm fairly positive I am. It's the first time in Premier League. Play attacking style. It's not the strongest team, and they're not. It's going to be harsh, but they're not the biggest club. So yeah, I'm going to say 20th. It's harsh on them, but I do hope if they do go down, they come back up. Next one is going to be probably one of the more crazier predictions, and I'm actually going to say 19th place, Southampton. Now, a lot of this is thinking that Danny Ings is going to leave, admittedly. But for a club that's consistently shipped 9 goals over the past 2 seasons in one match, 9 unanswered goals, shall we say, as well. I just think there's some sort of weak mentality, and maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe they'll come back. Maybe it's got to be 19th. But I do see this being probably Ralph Hasenhutl's last season at Southampton. If Ings does leave, then that's like the last ray of sunshine getting like shut out. Like, it's a bit harsh, but yeah, I think Southampton are in for a world of pain this season. More so than conceding 9 goals in one match twice in 2 years. But yeah, Southampton, sorry, but I do think this is going to be the season where it all just collapses on them. Moving on to 18th place. 18th is going to be Brighton. Now, again, this doesn't. You probably see with the thing about that. I am a Leeds fan. So, over the course of last season and a little bit before that, we don't particularly get along. But I don't particularly have much of a special thing against Brighton. It probably seems that way. But I just don't. But I do think that at some point, Graham Potter needs to find an actual striker. And he needs to find one who's consistent. Like, if you look at Leeds don't play a style that's all too dissimilar to Brighton. I think ours is a bit more attack-minded. But I think what separates the two teams is that last season we had Bamford, who was scoring consistently, and Brighton did not have someone scoring at that same rate. And I look at the squad now and I just think there's no one in that squad who's going to do that. And with a potential sale of Ben White to Arsenal, then I think that's like, I think it might take its toll, and I think looking at it, I can see them struggling more so than they have in the past. So yeah, I'm sticking Brighton 18th. I mean, there is no special hatred I have for them, but I think they will struggle. So moving up out of the relegation zone, just surviving by a whisker, I'm going to have Crystal Palace. I'm not even saying this in terms of thinking Zaha's going to leave, because we all keep saying, oh, Palace will struggle if Zaha leaves, but it's like, Palace struggled with Zaha in the first place. So I'm kind of saying here Zaha's going to keep them up, more so than... I kind of think they'll be similar to Brighton. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily styles or style play or formation or anything like that. I just think Zaha is the key man who's going to win that race between Brighton and Palace to survive. Plus, with the signings of Michael Olise, who I'm definitely aware is definitely signed for them. I watched Championship a bit last season, and I watched before the season Leeds got promoted, obviously, and Olise has definitely been one of Reading's best players, and he's got a bit about him. So I think that creativity alongside Eze, and then having Zaha in the squad as well. There's other decent players in and around. I think they're a bit more solid at the back than Brighton are. So yeah, I think they'll stay up, but it's going to be kind of the same as usual, really. Like, they'll pick up some wins, probably get their asses handed to them most of the time. But I'm going to put Palace in 17th. 16th is probably where the big call is, and that is Norwich City. Now, Norwich fans will probably like this, because I'm not going to be one of those people who's going to say, oh, it's Norwich, they'll go straight back down. Now, I could be very wrong with this, and I'm definitely sticking my neck out on this one. But I think Norwich will do it this year. I think they will stay up. I think Farke I think he'll have learned from last time he was in the Premier League, and after a very, very strong season in the Championship last season, I think they'll be stronger than they were last time around. They'll know they'll have a better idea of what to expect. When signing of young Billy Gilmore as well, Scottish Kante or whatever, I think they'll have a really strong season. Well, 16th isn't really strong, but for them it'll be a really strong season. I think the fans will be happy with that, and then hopefully it'll give them a platform to build. I'm saying hopefully, but yeah, it'll give them a platform to build off, and I do think Norwich will stay up. Okay, so moving on, and to 15th, I'm going to say Newcastle United. Now, again, nothing against Newcastle. You're just a depressing team. Okay, so yeah, not Newcastle 15th is, I don't know, probably about expected for everyone. So, moving on from Newcastle into 14th, I'm going to say Everton. Something just tells me they're not going to do well. Like, I don't know if it's... Actually, I do know why. And I think it's mainly something to do with the manager. And not that I think Benitez a crap coach. I just think even he must not really want to be at Everton. I do think his commitment's going to be worth a thin. It's going to be defensive football. They're not going to enjoy it. The fans will turn. It's going to be a bit chaotic. But Everton have a stronger squad than everyone I've put beneath them, which is the only reason they're as high up as they are for me. They could surprise me, and for a club like Everton, I kind of hope they do. And for other reasons, I hope they don't. I hope they get relegated, but that's personal. And it's not me having a special hatred. I just know someone who supports Everton, and I think it would be funny. Moving away from that, I think Calvert-Lewin will still do well. James Rodriguez doesn't want to be there, so he'll either leave or he just won't want to play. This will probably be the last season of have Richarlison. But with goalkeeper like Pickford, I think they'll have enough to just about survive, but it's going to be very, very, very tight. So up to 13th, I'm saying Burnley. there's not really to say about Burnley. It was just steady mid-table every single time. I think last season they kind of missed the Turf Moor crowd. I don't know if they're necessarily influential or not, but I do think they help to make Turf Moor a fortress. So I think they'll have a stronger season with the fans back. But Burnley are just boring, aren't they? So I'm not even going to explain why they're going 13th. They're just going 13th. Next up, moving on to 12th, Watford. Now, this is probably the biggest call in this entire list. So, why do I think Watford will be very comfortable? Well, when they went down, they kept the core of the squad together. And I think they had a shaky start that robbed them of the title, in all fairness. So, I think Watford's squad is going to be good. They've got a decent manager, Xisco Munoz. Well, he looked decent in the Championship anyway. I think they've got a bit of a fight to them, which they haven't really had for a while. So yeah, I'm sticking Watford in 12th because I think the squad's strong. We all saw it in the Premier League when they were there. They'll be confident after promotion, and I think they'll have quite a solid season. Don't think they'll necessarily get like thumped. I think there'll be many sort of. I kind of see them being a sort of Sheffield United when they stayed up, just sort of like that, but not quite as strong. Alright, upwards into 11th, and it's going to be West Ham. Now, it's not necessarily because I think they were unseason wonder. I think they'll have another strong season. I don't think many West Ham fans will hate 11th, but I think European football might take its toll. That's why I'm sticking West Ham bottom half, but I don't think it'll be a bad season necessarily. They'll have European football. I think it will mess with them a little bit, but I think they'll be decent. Into 10th, I'm going Arsenal. Now, there's a lot of people when they do predictions, they just stick the big six as the top six. I think everyone just expects that. So, in a way, you might think me sticking them 10th is a way to sort of hope them back up there, but it's not. I think there's just going to be another 10th place. Like, I don't know why Arteta gets all this time. Plus, the signings they're making, I don't know, they don't scream, visionary, I guess. Like, Nuno Tavares could very well be a very good left back, but at the same breath, they also still have Tierney for that position. Aubameyang didn't do well last season, so whether he comes good this season and helps them back to the top six, I don't know. But I'm going off what I know from last season in a way with this. I'm going to say Aubameyang might struggle again. Lacazette, I'm not sure about still. There's rumour to lose Smith-Rowe. They haven't got Odegaard back. Maybe the signing of Ben White at the back would help them if they do get him indeed. But if they don't, then there'll be another clown show at the back, just as usual. But Arsenal is Arsenal. I think they've got a strong squad when it does come together. No special disliking towards them. They've got a decent goalkeeper who's just behind a clown show defence. The rest of the squad's decent-ish. And then they've got, obviously, Aubameyang, like I mentioned. So, I'm sticking them mid-table, because I don't think they're going to really push for Europe, but they're going to be well clear of danger. Don't think there's any danger of Arsenal being relegated, because Jesus Christ, could you imagine? Arsenal Fan TV would just be the only thing I watch all week. But anyway, moving on. Getting right into the top half and going into 9th, I'm sticking Wolves. Now, this is kind of just a weird shot, I guess. I don't know much about the new manager. I think he'll reinvigorate a little bit of what they lost from last season. So I think they'll come back and be the Wolves that they first the Wolves that we were first introduced when they first got promoted to the Premier League. I think there'll be a bit of that coming back to them. Plus, with Raul Jimenez coming back into it a bit more, I think they'll be stronger than last season. So I'm sticking them back in the top half. And I think Wolves will be happy with a 9th place finish. 8th, I'm going for Aston Villa. Villa. They haven't made too many inspired signings. If you ask me, Ashley Young at 35. I think he's 35 anyway. And then Emi Buendia, someone who got relegated before, and paying all the money they did for him. I think that their transfer negotiator guy just got fleeced there by Norwich. But even saying that he overpaid for Buendia, I think he's a decent winger. Whether he's better than what they already have, I don't know. What I do know is, even if he's not a starter, he'll come off the bench and he will make some sort of an impact. Plus, if Watkins continues his form, Grealish being Grealish, as we all know, he's a decent player. Mings and Konsa at the back are a decent partnership. I think they'll be solid yet again, but I don't think they'll be quite, pushing. I don't think they'll quite make Europe. 7th is where I'm sticking Leeds. I do think I'm going to say weeks. You can closely, I'm a Leeds fan. I think we are going to be better. I don't think we're going to suffer second season syndrome. And again, I'm a Leeds fan, I'm biased, and I want to think positively about this. I don't think it's going to happen. Plus, we're signing players from Barcelona now, and I know it's the Barcelona bench, but Firpo looks a great signing, and I think he will sort the left back position out. That was maybe the weak link in the team, because as much as I liked Alioski, he was very erratic in that position. I think Firpo will not be like that. And if we get a few more signings through the door, then yeah, why not push for Europe? Because I think this squad proved that a lot of people underestimated them. So it'll be a lot different from that point of view this season. But I do think that the squad proved they belonged in the Premier League and proved they could do well in the Premier League. And I think with Bielsa in the mentality of this squad, I think they'll continue it. Now, this is very much sticking my neck out for Leeds here, but I think it is a very real possibility that they can really push and do something and get themselves in the European race. 6th, I'm going for Leicester. Now, this is going to be the part where it's going to be sort of more what you expect. Now, you might be thinking, oh, but you haven't mentioned Spurs yet. They're coming later. But as far as Leicester go, at some point, and I don't want this to happen necessarily, but at some point Vardy is going to slow down. And I think this will be the start of that this season. Now, whether Iheanacho is good enough to really take over fully as a goal scorer, maybe, maybe not. They've made some decent signings. I think when they get players back from injury, and if they already are back, then they've got a very, very, very good team. But again, some of them, I already said Vardy, but then there's also Johnny Evans, who's getting older. He's not quite old yet, but my voice keeps cracking. He's not ancient yet, but he is going to get older. I do think that they will suffer some bad defeats, but at the same time, I think Leicester will be a solid Premier League team. I think it'll be another very, very good season for Leicester. So I'm sticking them 6th. I know it's not Champions League football like they want, but I do think they'll have a very strong Europa League campaign. And maybe even a cup run, like League Cup or FA Cup. So I think Leicester will have a lot to cheer about this season. Maybe not necessarily with the league, but I do think they'll be quite a good European adventure for the fans, if goes away. But even then, just watching it on the telly, I think it'll be a very good season for Leicester. In 5th is where I'm putting Spurs. Now, this is, I think maybe I'm buying into Nuno hype here, But I think Nuno, young, it's not the most ambitious style of player, but he's a young, ambitious manager. He'll want to achieve something in a big club like Spurs. It's a massive task, massive job for him. And in a way, I do hope he does well, because I do like him as a manager. So maybe this is a little bit of that sneaking in. But I think if Nuno can convince Harry Kane to stick around at Spurs, and he's got some good players also around. Like he'll have Son, who he's already shown he can do well with sort of left midfield, centre forward hybrid sort of players like that. With Diogo Jota at Wolves, so I don't think players are necessarily going to be ruined or phased out of the team like they were under Mourinho. I think he'll keep the entire squad happy. If he brings his back five style, it won't. Then yeah, maybe it's not going to be the most appealing thing to watch. But I think how Nuno does it's a very effective style of play, and I think it will work for Spurs. So I think it will get them back into, Europa League at least this season. And I kind of don't want to say this, but you know what? I'll stick my neck out and say Spurs will win a trophy this season. I can't believe I'm saying this, actually, this thing. But you know what? Spurs to win a trophy this season. I'm not doing a forfeit, because stuff that, just for now, I can't really afford to do forfeits, I'm broke. But Spurs 5th. Moving up from Spurs into the Champions League places, I'm sticking Man United in 4th. I would absolutely love as a Leeds fan to not put them here, but I do think, even if it's not like necessarily success as for what a Man United fan wants, I think it'll be a decent-ish season. And I would stick them higher, but I'm not totally convinced they will get Varane. So I think it will be another season, Lindelof, Maguire at the back. And I did read earlier, like maybe last month, something that Wan-Bissaka was being tried out as a centre-back. So again, shuffling positions back there, but aside from that, Man United have a good squad. Well, a good team, first 11 anyway. When you look into the bench, it starts to really weaken. But with basically the arrival of Sancho, which is pretty much nailed on at this point now. In a way, I'm glad it's over. In a way, I'm not, because Sancho is very good. I think Sancho will improve the team. Plus, when you're looking at like potential front fours, I guess, for United, like attacking midfield, wide men up front, having Bruno Fernandes in there, sure, you might say the penalty merchant, but United get penalties. He's there to take them. He'll be very good at it. He'll do well again. I mean, if that's what he's in the team for, fair enough. That's his bag. Go for it. Fernandes take the penalties, score him. He's got a bit of creativity when he shows up. Then we've got wide men. Stick Sancho, Rashford as your wide men, and either Greenwood or Cavani up front. It's a frightening front four. But as opposed to the teams I'm putting above them, I think just weaker starting 11, not much strength in depth. So I think if a couple injuries happen, it's going to take its toll. But aside from that, I think they are good enough to get a top 4 finish this season. In 3rd place, I'm sticking Liverpool. So it not at all what Liverpool fans want. They want to be up top of the table. But I think a similar problem as to what they had last season and what got exposed last season is that the Liverpool team is fantastic. It's phenomenal. Problem is, you're going to start looking at the bench after you've looked at the starting 11 and you're going to think it's not the strongest in the world. So for the similar reason as Man United, Liverpool will be very good and they're good enough for top 4. The reason I'm putting them above United in particular is because the starting 11 is much better. My voice keeps cracking and I'm sick of it. But the starting 11 is much better than United's at Liverpool. And I think the bench options are just about better. So yeah, I'm sticking Liverpool there purely off the basis of that. and who knows? Maybe they'll win a trophy still. I don't know, but it'll be a better Premier League season, shall we say? More of a comfortable one than it was last season for Liverpool fans. I think Liverpool fans will take that aspect. But yeah, I'm sticking Liverpool third. So the big call here is who wins the league. So in second place, I'm going Chelsea. Like, between Chelsea and Man City, for me it's a bit of a toss-up. Obviously Chelsea dominated it towards the end of the season when they played them, well, results-wise anyway. But, the argument I've used up to now is depth. City have better depth than Chelsea do. And I think, well, Chelsea could, go off and buy Haaland or whatever, and if they do get him, then this will look very stupid. Because if they do get him, they'll probably end up winning the league. But, as for right now, when I'm making this video, middle of middle of July, I'll learn my goddamn months. No one hired me. But Chelsea, I'm thinking Chelsea second. It's a coin toss here in my mind. I could probably justify both the clubs winning the league. So the club that I have ended up sticking top of the league was obviously Man City. Yeah, they're the strongest team overall. Maybe the starting 11 isn't as good as Liverpool's or even Chelsea's maybe. But I do think Man City's squad has the depth. And I think they've got a consistent flow of, upper to world class talent in the team. Whereas Liverpool will have like Virgil van Dijk, best defender in the world. But then his backup is going to turn into a young centre back in Konate, maybe even Matip, Gomez, and they're decent defenders. But again, if they have another defensive crisis, then you're relying on that Reece Williams kid, Nathaniel Phillips, and it all gets messy from there. Look at midfield. Sure, you got Thiago, Henderson. There you go. Might be being a bit harsh on Liverpool players here, but I think people get the point. With City, let's say if and I mean, yes, I'm aware of the glaring weaknesses left out there. So obviously, if like Zinchenko gets injured, you've got Benjamin Mendy, and that's not necessarily the best way to go about it. But when you look at right back, Kyle Walker's a very top class right back, but if he gets injured, you got João Cancelo, who again is another very good right back. Like, they're not exactly short on options. One of the centre backs get injured, and you get Aymeric Laporte. So their squad is so unbelievably talented, and it's got just this consistency, even on the bench, of just upper to world class talent. So that's why I'm sticking City top of the league over Chelsea. Because I think even in Chelsea's team, well, they've got some very good quality on the bench. I don't think it's quite as good as City's. I haven't seen Chelsea sign anyone yet, and if they do, then I'll probably end up being like, oh, Chelsea finished top of the league and they'll win it. But I think because City's squad just overall looks the strongest in the league, one of the strongest on the planet in all fairness, then I'm sticking City to win their second league title in a row. Even losing Aguero, I think. That's the other thing. If I lost Aguero, Gabriel Jesus. So I'm going to end the video there. We're getting towards 30 minutes. You're probably bored out of your minds. So yeah, that's the Premier League table. Prediction. I'm going to probably watch this back and think I was a total idiot for predicting some of this stuff. But that's the point. I'm sticking this out there. No one can watch it if they want. If people watch it, fair enough. That's absolutely fine. If you enjoy it, like the video. Comment what your predictions are. Comment if you think I'm an absolute idiot as well. I will take it. Although, if you're commenting that I'm an idiot, I'd also more appreciate if you tell me why I'm an idiot. But yeah, I'm gonna submit that as my Premier League predictions. Hope people enjoy it and find it hilarious when I get this all wrong. But enjoy the rest of your day or evening or whenever you're watching this, and I'll probably see you if I ever make another video.